Welcome to the UpNext AI podcast. It's Monday, June 22nd, 2026, and here's what matters in AI today. We start with enterprise adoption at scale. OpenAI says Samsung Electronics is deploying ChatGPT Enterprise and Codex to employees worldwide, calling it one of its largest enterprise AI rollouts so far. That matters because this is not a pilot framed around a single team or a narrow workflow. At least from the announcement, this is a global employee deployment inside one of the world's biggest electronics companies. And the pairing is notable. ChatGPT Enterprise for general workplace use, plus Codex for software and technical workflows. The immediate takeaway is that enterprise AI adoption is still moving from experimentation towards standard internal tooling. We do not have headcount or detailed rollout mechanics in the supplied reporting, so the cautious read is simply this. A major multinational is standardizing on OpenAI tools across a worldwide employee base, and OpenAI wants the market to see that as a flagship proof point. From there, let's turn to the Anthropic story, which is more about governance than deployment. TechCrunch reports that the US government forced Anthropic to pull its two newest models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5, citing national security concerns after Amazon researchers allegedly found a way to bypass Fable 5's guardrails. According to the reporting, cybersecurity researchers have since signed an open letter criticizing the move, and Anthropic said the same jailbreaks exist in other models too. So the story here is not just that two models were pulled, it's that the decision is already turning into a wider argument over whether the government is setting a workable security standard or singling out one lab in a way that could reshape competition and developer trust. For builders, this is the part to watch. If access to frontier models can change suddenly under government pressure, model risk is no longer just about benchmarks and pricing. It becomes a platform stability question. And that can influence procurement decisions just as much as raw capability. For today's research section, we have a paper posted over the weekend on Zenodo titled The Evolution-Gated Autonomous AI Safeguard. The author describes a framework for youth-facing AI systems that would gradually expand what a user can access based on age and developmental milestones, while trying to keep private files and personal data isolated from the active agent environment. In plain English, the proposal is for an age-gated AI wrapper. Younger users stay in a tighter sandbox, permissions expand over time, and the system is designed to stop personal data from leaking across contexts. The paper also proposes its own logic framework and a separate speculative processing layer for privacy protection. What we can say from the text provided is that this is an architectural proposal, not a demonstrated field result or benchmark comparison. Bottom line, the paper is interesting as a design idea for child-safe AI access, but the key takeaway today is conceptual. It argues that youth AI safety may need dynamic, staged permissions rather than one-size-fits-all blocking. Are you building apps with voice? Elevate your app's voice capabilities with 11 Labs. Their API is a game changer for embedding dynamic, responsive voice interactions in your applications, providing unprecedented realism, flexibility, and latency. In fact, you're listening to one of their voices right now. If you are a developer looking to elevate user experience with natural voice interfaces, this is your solution. Visit upnext.fm/11 to check out their latest offerings. First, AWS says AI agents still lack business context and security, and at its summit in New York, the company unveiled two new services meant to address those gaps. The safe takeaway here is strategic. AWS is positioning agent infrastructure around enterprise grounding and controls, not just raw autonomy. Next, TechCrunch profiles a new site called In the Weights, which bills itself as an AI-centric vanity search. The idea is to see how well different models can identify a person without using web search and then turn that into a score. Also in hardware, Newsbytes reports that Tesla has filed a trademark application for Megapod, described as modular data center hardware for AI computing. The report says the filing is intent to use, so this is not a launch, but it does suggest Tesla may want a branded path back into AI infrastructure hardware after ending Dojo. And one policy note, Nathan Lambert published an op-ed co-authored with Kevin Xu arguing that banning open source AI would be a mistake. Their case is that open source supports education, competition, and innovation, and that overly broad regulation could strengthen already dominant proprietary labs instead of improving safety. One last tool watch. Agent X is showing up on Product Hunt as a framework for building and evaluating multi-agent systems with different LLMs. The summary emphasizes quick setup, workflow automation, and accessibility for non-coders. Before we wrap up, a quick note. This podcast is generated with the assistance of AI and is intended for informational purposes only. All referenced articles, research, and commentary remain the property of their original authors and publishers. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And that's your briefing for today. Full source links are in the episode notes, and we'll be back tomorrow with What's Up Next?